Hi there, it's Sasha here. Now in this video I'm going to show you an exercise for your transversus abdominis. So this exercise, what the aim is to learn how to activate your transversus abdominis and to start to build your nervous system's awareness and ability to control and coordinate that muscle. So your transversus abdominis is your inner corset muscle, okay? So it's an inner corset muscle like so. It sort of runs in the same direction as my hand here, and it runs deep, so it's actually below your rectus abdominis. That's your six-pack muscle. So this is a core muscle that's below that, and it's like a corset muscle. So why it's really important is because it provides lots of spinal stability. Now, the main cue, which I'll run through when I show you how to do this exercise, to activate it is essentially draw your belly button to your spine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to do the exercise, and then we're going to come back to the board and I'm going to run through a few more things. Okay, so we're going to need a yoga mat on the floor, like so. You can actually easily do this exercise outside as well, on the grass or wherever you are. Just don't do it on the hard surface because it can be a little bit uncomfortable. Alright, so slowly hop on your yoga mat. I'm just going to come forward a little bit. Now, start with our knees bent. And what we want to do, firstly, is play around with what we call a neutral spine. So, from here, if I flatten my back out, you can say I can't put my hand underneath. That's one extreme. And if I do the other extreme, I arch my back all the way, pointing my belly button up to the ceiling. And you can see I can put my hand underneath. Now, imagine if this is say 10, and flat on the ground is a 0. What we want to do is we want to find that neutral spine. So it's about that 6. So have a play around with this until we find that neutral spine. This position should be a position where you feel relatively comfortable. From there, we want to get some feedback from our fingers. So find the 2 bony points in the front here, in front of your pelvis. You won't be able to see on the camera, but you should be able to feel them on yourself. Come a few centimeters in, a few centimeters down. We should be in a good spot, so we're actually going to go underneath our clothes, so it'll be actually feeling the skin. This is an ideal spot to feel your transversus abdominis activate. From there, remember that cue is draw your belly button to your spine. Okay? Now, when we draw our belly button to our spine, we should feel the muscle underneath engage, and it should feel like that it's something's pulling down and tight. Okay, so when you're not contracting it, it's relatively loose. Then you contract it, you should feel this tension and tightness activate as your muscle is engaging. Now, what we don't want to feel is we don't want to feel bulging forward, okay? Because when we bulge out, that means we're activating our rectus abdominis, and that's a bigger muscle on the outside, and that's not what we want to target in this exercise. Okay, so 2 centimeters in, 2 centimeters down. Use our fingers to get that feedback, and draw it gently, but slowly draw our belly button to our spine, without moving our pelvis. So without doing this, you can see that. This is my neutral spine. If I draw my belly button to my spine when I'm moving my spine and pelvis, I end up just doing this. Not what I want. We keep our neutral spine and gently draw our belly button to our spine. And we should feel it activate. Now, it might take you some time to learn this because this is sort of a starting point to actually build that awareness and ability to activate this muscle. When we find that we are engaging the transversus abdominis, what we want to do is make sure that we keep our breathing steady, because we tend to, when we do this exercise and we start off, we tend to hold our breath and try to find it. So we want to make sure that we breathe at a steady rate. Now, take your time getting up. And now, with my board, I'm going to run through exactly how long we need to do this for. So, this is the starting out. So what we want to do is we want to hold it for 10 seconds. Okay, so we pull our draw our belly button to our spine, hold it for 10 seconds. Make sure we breathe, breathe normally. Keep breathing throughout the exercise. Then we want to do 10 sets in total. So start on the ground, because it's the easiest position, so lying down. When we get good with that, when we start building out the awareness on the ground, we can start moving to a seated position. Okay, when we find that we can do that well in a seated position, then we can move to a standing position. one good sort of tip that you know you're ready to progress from lying down to a seated position is that you don't need to use your fingers to feel, to get that feedback, but you're actually activating the muscle. Okay, so if you still need to use your fingers to feel that the muscle is contracting, then you're not quite ready to go into a seated position. And obviously then you can't progress into a standing position. Now, a few other little tips to integrate this into your daily activity. Obviously, you can't really integrate it whilst you're lying down, so you need to take the time out of the day to lie down and do this. But when you want to do it in a seated position, start off in a position where you can just solely focus on activating the muscle. But when you get good at that, you can easily integrate it into things like sitting in a car at a red light. So you can do a few holds there. Or you might be waiting for your food at the dinner table. You can do a few holds then. And the same within a standing position. Firstly, start by just purely putting all your attention and focus on activating your transversus abdominis in a standing position. And then you can integrate it into activities that you usually do. For instance, brushing your teeth, washing the dishes, and so forth. Now, if you have any questions with this, double check with your chiropractor. They'll be more than happy to make sure that you're doing this correctly. But do take your time, because this is the fundamental step to doing the rest of the core activities correctly. So take your time, make sure you get this correct. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact your chiropractor. Otherwise, we will see you next time.